I want to teach you guys English in the best way that I know how, by teaching you with lots of context. In today's lesson, I'm going to tell you about a journey that I'm currently on, and I'm going to teach you 13 new natural phrases while I tell you this story. So sit back, listen up, and if you want to keep studying these phrases, make sure to check out the link below in the description. Now, let's get started. I'm going to teach you these phrases so that you can use these advanced English phrases that are pretty common in everyday life flawlessly. One thing about me is that I am a go-getter. Once I set my mind to something, it's really hard to talk me out of it.
Talk me out of it. But it'll talk me out of it.
So to talk someone out of something means to try to convince or persuade someone not to do something. So you give them a lot of different reasons why something they want to do is bad, or it's just not worth their time, or it's dumb or it's stupid. So I'm saying it is hard to talk me out of something. So it's not easy to tell me not to do something that I've already decided to do. If you have a friend that wants to quit their job, but they don't already have a new job or any sort of backup plan, you might say, I tried to talk him out of quitting his job until he at least had a backup plan.
Talk me out of it.
Another phrase that I used here is I am a go-getter. This is a really good phrase to use if you're in a job interview and you want to just convince people that you're very motivated, that you will go after a goal or you'll go after trying to be successful very easily. You can say, I am a go-getter. Oftentimes, people who are learning a new language are go-getters because it's a very challenging task and they have to be very self-motivated to be able to do it. They are total go-getters.
Is my go-getter?
He's a go-getter.
And finally, when you set your mind to something, it's talking about setting your mind to either a decision, an opinion, or a goal. So when I set my mind to a goal, it means I have to achieve that goal or I'll be very disappointed in myself. I will sacrifice a lot of things if I've set my mind to a goal to just try to achieve it. If you set your mind to learning a new language with a lot of practice, you can become fluent. This means as long as you're very serious about the goal, you can do it. If you've set your mind to an opinion or a decision, it means you are going to go with that or you are going to believe in this thing. And it's going to be really hard for someone to convince you not to believe in it anymore or not do it anymore.
You set your mind to.
You set your mind to.
Many years ago, I ran a half marathon. Now, this might not be super impressive to anyone because really it's just a half marathon. It's 13.1 miles or 21.1 kilometers. But for me, I never believed that I was a natural born runner. When we use this phrase natural born, it means someone who is good at something. It seems like just from the beginning of their life, they were born being good at that thing. So just naturally talented. We really use this phrase a lot if we are complimenting someone's talent or skill. You could say you are a natural born leader. That means you just lead people really well. People listen to you. You have a lot of authority. Or you could say you are a natural born artist. That means the art that you create is so good that it could not be taught. The skill could not be taught to other people. Or if someone's really good at telling stories, you could compliment them and say, you are a natural born storyteller.
A natural born leader.
To also be a natural born killer.
So my goal many years ago to complete my half marathon was to try to do it in under 2 hours. So this is a pretty ambitious goal, but it's also very common. This is a very common time that people want to try to run a half marathon in. We call that a sub 2 hour half marathon. And if you're curious about how fast you have to run to achieve this, it's about 9 minutes and 10 seconds per mile or 5 minutes and 41 seconds per kilometer. So something sad about the story, it's slightly sad, is I fell short of my goal time. I was really happy just to finish. Again, I don't think I'm a natural born runner, so this is something that took a lot of hard work and training to do, but that extra 4 minutes after the 2-hour time goal that I set, it has haunted me for years. So when you say that you fell short of a goal, it means you just missed the goal. You are barely missing your goal.
I'll still fall short of you.
And it's kind of a softened way to say you just didn't meet your goal. If you are at work and your company has a sales goal or some sort of goal of completing a project and you missed that goal, you could say, oh, we just fell short, or we fell short of our goal. This is, again, a nice softened way to say we missed our goal. You can use the phrase, we missed the mark, in the same exact way. I'm sure you've heard this phrase before. It's a really good one to add to your vocabulary as well. So I missed the mark, I fell short. And then I said that those 4 extra minutes that it took me to complete my half marathon, it really haunted me. When we talk about being haunted by something, I said I was haunted by those 4 extra minutes it took me to finish the half marathon. It means we're kind of disturbed or preoccupied with something. In this case, I'm just preoccupied. I always think about, oh, if I would have just run a little bit faster on every single mile, I could have met my goal time. So usually when we're haunted by something, it means we have some negative thoughts or some traumatic thoughts or just, something slightly that bothered us for a long, long time. Maybe you have gotten in some sort of vehicle accident in your life and you are haunted by nightmares thinking about how bad of a situation that is. If that actually has happened to you, I'm really sorry it has, but that's just an example of how something negative or scary in our life can haunt us. It haunts us in our nightmares, in our dreams. Or maybe you made a decision that you now regret. Maybe you decided not to go to college and you look back and you think, wow, that would have been a good opportunity at the time. You could say, my decision not to go to college has haunted me for many, many years.
It's haunted me.
So now, talking about the past and how it's haunted me a little bit. Of course, I'm proud to have run my half marathon, but now in the spring, I have a new goal. Now my plan in the spring is to complete my second half marathon. I've actually been running for the last few years. I have completed some shorter races that were not quite as long as a half marathon, a 5K, 10K, some shorter races in that range. And I've actually run faster than my half marathon goal pace, which makes me believe that I can run that fast now for a half marathon if I put the training in. Now, this goal is easier said than done. So a lot of times we say we put the time in, we put the hard work in, we put the training in. It just means you put effort into something. You can say you can accomplish any goal as long as you put the work in. These types of phrases are really common when we're just saying that someone needs to actually work hard and do the work that is required to meet something. We put the work in. You might use this phrase another way. You might say, I wanted to dress up for work, but I didn't feel like putting the effort in. So again, it's just like hard work. It's doing the hard work. We say we put the work in, or we put the effort in.
Put a lot of work into it.
You need to put your energy into something else.
And a really common phrase in English is easier said than done. This phrase is just used to say that a goal is actually pretty difficult, even though it's easy to say that you want to do it. We use this in our everyday English all of the time when we talk about these small little things that we know are good for us, but they're just hard to do. For instance, quitting social media sounds like a great idea, but it's easier said than done. All of the social media apps are meant to be addicting. They're meant to, occupy our time. So it's not as easy as just saying, I want to quit. Or sometimes it's hard to stay calm, or it's hard to stay positive in a situation. Maybe you have a job interview that you're very stressed out and anxious for, and someone says, just relax. You might say, well, that's easier said than done. It's easy to say, just relax. But when you have these feelings and you have this big job interview coming up, it's difficult to actually do in practice.
Easier done than said.
Easier said than done.
So the thing that's interesting about this half marathon that I want to complete now is I ran my last half marathon so long ago, and at the time I didn't have as many responsibilities. I didn't have my own family, kids. I didn't have a house that I owned. I didn't have my own business. So with all these life changes, it's becoming a bit more difficult to actually train for the half marathon. But where there's a will, there's a way. This phrase, again, very common in everyday English. It just means where there's a desire or determination, someone will be able to get something done. So this phrase is very popular to sound positive, to sound ambitious. Maybe you have a phrase like it in your own language that translates to be pretty similar. When we say there's a will to do something, it means there's a strong desire. So if there's a strong desire, there is a way that we can get something done. This is where the phrase, where there's a will, there's a way. It's just a positive way of saying we can do it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way.
So my kids are pretty young still. Only one of my children goes to school during the day. So I have my two smallest children with me. And part of my training plan has been adapted so that I have a double stroller. And I take my two youngest children after I drop my oldest son off at school, and we go running in the double stroller. This is a heck of a workout, and my kids are total troopers. If you notice this phrase, it's a heck of a workout. This is super informal in English, but people like myself say this all the time to just emphasize that it's really a heck of a workout. It's difficult. Or we also use this, modifier to say that something is very impressive. That is a heck of a pair of shoes you have there. That's a heck of a haircut there. It's kind of used by older people a lot as well, but you'll hear it again with younger people all the time.
Heck of a party, huh?
And then I use the phrase, my kids are troopers. So when we say someone's a trooper, this is an old slang phrase, super common. People my age and younger use it to say that someone deals with something that's challenging and they're very resilient and they don't even complain. So of course, my kids would rather just be playing or going inside and being warm, but they are troopers. They don't complain. They just go with mom on the run in the double stroller. And again, it's a heck of a workout because pushing my two kids while I run, it's heavier and it creates some resistance when you're running. So if you want a heck of a workout, have kids, have a double stroller, and go running. I do this a few times a week. I'm trying to run about 5 times a week right now to accomplish, building up my endurance and my strength. And probably 3 of those runs each week is done with my kids. Right now, the weather is getting colder where I live, so it's getting a bit more difficult to find the motivation to go out for my daily run. When we use this phrase to find the motivation, it just means to become inspired or to have the drive to do something. I want to clean my house, but I just can't find the motivation. It just means you can't find reasons that are making you want to do it. Even though you say you want to do it, it's like you feel lazy. You feel like it's easier just to sit there rather than get up and start cleaning.
I just can't seem to find the motivation.
A lot of people have a hard time finding the motivation to do things that they know are going to be good for them, like cleaning, exercising, eating healthy. It's convenient to eat junk food. It's convenient just to lay on the couch, but you have to find the motivation to want to do things that are good for you. Since I'm trying to make it easier for myself to go out and actually put in the work and train, I invested in some warmer exercise clothing for myself, and I get my kids bundled up in the top of the line, little snowsuits, hats, mittens, just to keep them super warm. We can talk about investing in something, meaning putting money into it, or we can say, we're investing our time into something as well. Remember, in English, time and money are often used the exact same way in phrases because Americans, we see our time as our money. If you use the phrase top of the line, it means the best. And it's usually talking about something that you can buy. Top of the line shoes, top of the line furniture, top of the line clothing, top of the line winter gear is what I said here. So this means clothing that's meant to keep you warm. And then another phrase that you definitely should know is what it means to get bundled up. So if we have a little baby and we wrap them up in blankets, we say, oh, they're all bundled up warm. Or we can say, I'm going to get all bundled up to go outside. It just means putting on lots of clothing in order to stay super warm.
Now bundle up.
Have you ever run a race or would you like to try it? Personally, running has been a really good hobby for me to help maintain a healthy lifestyle. And maybe you should try it if you're looking to have a healthy habit as well. Let me know your thoughts about running or just trying to accomplish a goal like my marathon time in the comments. And as always, make sure to visit EnglishWithKayla.com to learn more English with me, to check out my course, to check out my ebook. And I'll see you guys in one of the next lessons on screen where I'll teach you some more advanced English vocabulary. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.